Don Nelson died yesterday at age 86, the second winningest coach in NBA history, Hall of Famer, three-time Coach of the Year, 5 championship rings as a player with the Celtics. The tributes started pouring in immediately, and if you pay attention to who's saying what, they reveal something most casual basketball fans don't realize about Nelson's legacy. This isn't just about small ball offense or the run and gun revolution. It's about how one American coach fundamentally changed the way the NBA views international talent and how those international players are now the ones defining how he's remembered. Let's break down what happened, what these tributes actually reveal, and why Nelson's approach to international players still matters today, especially as we're watching the world come together for the World Cup and getting ready for NFL international games next month. Don Nelson died Sunday in Frisco, Texas. He'd suffered a stroke about 3 weeks earlier and had been in hospice care. His family announced the passing, and within hours, the basketball world was reacting. But here's what stands out. The most powerful tributes came from international stars. Dirk Nowitzki posted this on X. "Nelly, you didn't just draft me. You believed in me. You saw things in my game before I ever realized I could do them. I've said it a million times, and I will always say it. I don't think my career could have turned out how it did without you being my first coach and giving me the freedom to play my game. I can only say thank you for everything, RIP legend." Luka Dončić added, "It's a sad day for basketball with the passing of Don Nelson. I have so much respect for him and everything he did for the game, especially the way he believed in international players. I'm grateful for the time I spent with him, thinking of the entire Nelson family today. I loved getting to know you, Coach." Those aren't generic thoughts and prayers statements. Those are players crediting Nelson with their entire careers, and that tells you everything about who Nelson really was. Here's the context you need. Nelson coached the Dallas Mavericks from 1997 to 2005. His regular season record there, 339 wins, 251 losses. But the record doesn't capture what he actually did. He drafted Dirk Nowitzki. And more importantly, he built the entire franchise around him. A 7-foot German forward who could shoot from anywhere, handle the ball, and play a style that basically didn't exist in the NBA yet. That was considered risky. International big men were supposed to be traditional post players. Nelson saw something different. He gave Dirk freedom to play his game before the rest of the league understood what that game could be. Nelson once called Nowitzki his German son. That wasn't just a cute soundbite. In 2019, Nelson sent a message through Rick Carlisle. "Please tell Dirk I'm very proud of my German son." That's how Nelson saw his relationship with international players, not as foreign prospects to mold into American basketball traditions, but as players with unique skills who deserved the freedom to express them. And it wasn't just Dirk. Nelson's entire coaching philosophy embraced international talent when much of the league was still skeptical. Remember, this was an era when international players were routinely doubted. Too soft, can't handle the physicality, don't understand the American game. Nelson didn't buy any of that. He saw talent, creativity, and basketball IQ, and he built systems that highlighted those strengths instead of forcing international players to conform. That's why Luka Dončić, who came to Dallas long after Nelson's coaching tenure ended, still felt compelled to honor him. Dončić recognized that the culture Nelson built, the belief in international players, the willingness to give them freedom and responsibility, created the environment that allowed him to thrive as well. So why does this matter right now? Because we're in the middle of a global sports summer. The World Cup just wrapped up with the world watching how America engages with international soccer. The NFL international games start next month, with the league pushing hard into global markets. And the common thread in all of this is the question, how does American sports culture interact with international talent? Don Nelson's legacy provides an answer. He didn't treat international players as curiosities or marketing opportunities. He treated them as basketball players, often better basketball players than their American counterparts, and he gave them the platform to prove it. Dirk Nowitzki became one of the greatest power forwards in NBA history. He changed the way the position is played. And according to his own words, that doesn't happen without Nelson believing in him first before Dirk even believed in himself. That's the coaching impact that transcends wins and losses. Nelson finished his career with 1,335 regular season wins, second all-time behind Greg Popovich, who passed him in March 2022. But those numbers don't capture the cultural shift he helped create. Today's NBA is filled with international stars: Giannis Antetokounmpo, Luka Dončić, Nikola Jokic, Joel Embiid, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. The league's MVP conversation is routinely dominated by international players. Now, that wasn't inevitable. It happened because coaches like Nelson proved that international talent wasn't just viable, it was often superior. And here's the thing: Nelson was American through and through. 5 championship rings as a player with the Boston Celtics in the 60s and 70s, inducted into the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame in 2012, 3-time NBA Coach of the Year. He wasn't some outsider pushing international basketball. He was an American basketball lifer who recognized that talent has no borders. That's why this story fits perfectly on this channel. We cover how the world reacts to America in sports and how America reacts to the world. Don Nelson's career is a case study in how American sports can embrace international influence without losing its identity, and how that embrace makes the game better. Nelson received the Chuck Daly Lifetime Achievement Award in June 2025 at the NBA Finals in Oklahoma City. The award recognizes coaching excellence and contributions to the game, but Nelson's real lifetime achievement is visible in the tributes pouring in now. International stars publicly crediting an American coach with believing in them when few others would. There's also a broader lesson here about legacy. Nelson's coaching innovations, the small ball lineups, the pace and space offense, the willingness to let big men shoot threes, those are all well documented. But what's defining his legacy and death is the relationships he built and the players he empowered. That's not about X's and O's. That's about seeing potential in people when others see risk. Dirk Nowitzki's tribute gets at this directly. You saw things in my game before I ever realized I could do them. That's not just good coaching, that's vision. That's the ability to look at a young international player and imagine a future that doesn't exist yet, then build a system to make that future real. And for a channel focused on international sports reactions, that's exactly the kind of American sports story worth telling. Not American exceptionalism, not we do it better here, but American sports culture at its best, recognizing talent, embracing diversity, and creating platforms for international athletes to shine. Nelson relocated from Hawaii to Frisco, Texas earlier this year. He was 86, and in his final months, he was surrounded by the legacy he built. A Dallas franchise forever defined by the international stars he championed, and a basketball world that now takes for granted what he fought to prove decades ago. So as tributes continue to pour in, pay attention to who's speaking and what they're saying. This isn't just basketball people mourning a Hall of Fame coach. This is international players honoring the American coach who believed in them first. That's how legacies are measured, not in wins, but in the voices that rise up to say thank you when you're gone. Don Nelson, second winningest coach in NBA history, Hall of Famer, and the American coach who changed international basketball forever, not by making international players American, but by letting them be themselves. Rest in peace.